Welcome to the administration training for the Wyoming Prevention Needs Assessment Survey. This training will take about 10 minutes to complete and will provide you with information on what to expect as you prepare for and administer the PNA to your students. Your help is essential in gathering good, high-quality information about the youth population in Wyoming. I realize that your primary responsibility is for teaching and instructing, so I want to thank you for taking the time to gather this information and watch this training video. Though this information is not directly tied to your teaching, the information gathered in the PNA is something that can be used to help improve the learning process for many students. There is a strong, well-established link between health and learning. Students' health impacts their attendance, test scores, and ability to pay attention in class. Supporting kids and addressing health issues such as drug and alcohol use can greatly improve their ability to learn and their academic success. By gathering this information via the PNA, we can help reduce the obstacles to learning and improve attendance, grades, and test scores. Here is a listing of the main survey team. Eric Kanan is the principal investigator on this project and is in charge of coordinating the survey and writing many of the reports. Sean Heim also assists on the project. Eric and Sean work for the Wyoming Survey and Analysis Center, also called WYSAC, which is a department of the University of Wyoming. You can get more information about the project and the project team members at our website, www.pnasurvey.org. There are 5 parts to this training. First, I will talk about the history and context of the PNA in Wyoming. Second, I will primarily talk about the parts of the survey administration that you will be actively involved in, starting where you inform the parents and obtain their permission to have their child participate in the survey. Third, I will present how the online survey will be administered this year and discuss differences between the online survey administration and the paper-based survey administration. Fourth, I'll talk about the paper and pencil version of the survey. And finally, I'll talk about how the survey needs to be administered and what problems might arise. Let's jump into part 1 of the training, which will cover some of the background information of the PNA. I'd like to take a few moments to give a brief background of where this survey has come from and its role here in Wyoming. During the early 1990s, drug and alcohol use prevention went through a kind of paradigm shift. At that point, drug and alcohol abuse prevention providers realized that the public health model of prevention could bring to the table many tools and methods that were previously unexplored or overlooked. In particular, the public health models that used risk and protective factors could bring a coherency and scope that was not understood in the realm of substance abuse prevention before. Growing from this shift, there was a realization that we needed data on risk and protective factors in adolescence. The PNA grew out of those efforts to compile risk and protective factor information. A group out of the University of Washington put together the first large-scale self-report survey on risk and protective factors. They named it the Communities That Care Youth Survey, and one by one, states began adopting this survey as a means of better understanding both the consumption rates and also the attitudes that influence those consumption rates. The goal of the survey was to be wide-ranging, gathering prevalence for 13 different substances, along with many attitudinal constructs. The survey also needed to be a manageable length so that it could be administered in a single class hour at school. It also needed to have good reliability and validity. The researchers met those goals, and in 2001, this survey was packaged in Wyoming as the Prevention Needs Assessment. This was the first time that the PNA survey was administered in Wyoming. For all the years of survey administration, the goal has been to produce a complete census of all 6th, 8th, 10th, and 12th grade students who are enrolled in public schools in Wyoming. The idea behind this census survey is to provide information all the way down to the school district level about students in their schools. We can always bring it up to the regional or state level, but community data is often very hard to come by, and ultimately, most decisions about how and where to spend prevention funding comes through the community. Communities have used the PNA data in community-level planning. For instance, as a part of the Prevention Framework project, all the communities in the state have used the PNA in conjunction with other data sources in a needs assessment to identify those areas that are influencing the misuse of alcohol in their communities. As the communities decided, based on the data, where they will focus their efforts, those same measures from the PNA and other data sources serve as the means by which they will be evaluated. Finally, many funding projects require reporting some very specific information that is gathered exclusively on the PNA. For instance, the Safe and Drug-Free Communities grants require that communities report the perception of risk and harm from using alcohol, cigarettes, marijuana, and the misuse of prescription drugs. Thus, overall, the PNA data is used throughout the state and provides valuable information that is not gathered elsewhere.